Instagram family. Here we go with another edition of Weekly Q&A. We've got 5 questions today, so I think this is going to be a shorter-ish chat than normal. A couple of them are pretty straightforward questions, so I'm just going to answer them, but I'm always happy to answer whatever you have asked. So here's the deal. If you have landed here and you don't know where the heck you are on the internet, I'm Sabrina Gebhardt. I'm a lifestyle photographer of more than 10 years. I am in Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm an educator. And I get on here and do weekly live Q&A every single week. Well, most weeks, okay? So what happens is I drop a question box on Wednesdays and you guys ask the questions and then I just answer whatever the questions are that are asked. It kind of ends up being all over the board and it's fun because you know, we just kind of bounce around into whatever we chat about. So if you are new here, say hello in the chat and let me know where you're from. I'm going to tell you where we're going first so that you know kind of what's on tap for today, and then we'll dive in, okay? So I take notes if you didn't know that. I take this kind of seriously. So first question is, what is your best business purchase of the year? Second question, I'm already feeling burnt out coming and I still have so many sessions left. Can you help? Third question, how do you handle sketchy clients if you show up and they are just weird or scary? Question 4, I'm trying to decide on a workshop or a class for next year and there's so many choices. Any tips for that? And then number 5, what's my favorite lens? So that's where we're going today. I hope that you will stay and stick around and join. And if you've got questions or comments during the chat, feel free to drop them in the box and we will address them and add them to the list. And if you're catching this on the replay, feel free to send me a DM if you have questions or clarifications or just want to chat further, okay? So let's get going. First question, what is your best business purchase of the year? So I'm going to give you 3. And it was really hard because part of me feels like this year has gone by really, really fast. And part of me feels like January was forever ago. So I had to really stop and think back. So I also want to preface my answer with, I'm not a beginner. I have been in business, it'll be 11 years in January. So what is a really big, exciting purchase for me this year is not the same for somebody who's in their first, second, third year of business, okay? So keep that in mind. So the first thing is 2021 was the very first year that I incorporated using a Cultivate planner. If you don't know what that is, Google it. The 2022 Cultivate planners actually just launched yesterday and I already ordered one. I am totally in love with it and it has really changed the way that I do my goal setting. Let me say this. It's called a Cultivate planner. It's Power Sheets. It is not an actual planner. It is a goal setting mechanism. So I have always loved goal setting. I have always done it. I teach it to my students, but this has kind of taken it to the next level. So I have really, really enjoyed it and I am totally on board and will be using it for years to come. The second best business purchase of the year was actually hiring somebody to help with my SEO. I hired my friend Sarah Landa. She is wonderful. She is a photographer and an SEO expert, and having both sides of that brain, like not only understanding SEO, but understanding what photographers need was really great. A little backstory, I launched a brand new website with a brand new URL last summer. And so it took a little while to kind of gain some traction and I still wasn't seeing the, the results I was hoping for. And so I brought her on to help and things have picked up and made such a big difference. I am such an advocate for hire someone to help you do something that you're not good at, okay? So that's where Sarah came in and that really made a big impact for me. And then the third thing is something that I've ordered, but I actually don't have yet. I ordered a new MacBook Pro. I do all of my editing and business stuff on a MacBook Pro. I do not use an iMac. I used an iMac for years. I have nothing against it. I love the big screen, but I travel too much and I move around too much and I need to be able to work in the car and at doctor's appointments. And, you know, again, I'm traveling for work. So a MacBook Pro works for me. And I actually really enjoy editing on one. And so it was time to order a new one. And I've placed the order, but because of all of the supply chain issues, it's not going to be here for a couple more weeks, which is a bummer. But so I I can't say for sure that that's going to be my favorite purchase of 2021, but I've been really excited about it all year, and I finally pulled the trigger on it. So those are my 3 top purchases for this year. Number 1, a Cultivate planner. Number 2, hiring someone to do the SEO for my new website URL. And number 3, my new computer. Okay, question number 2. I already feel burnout coming, and I still have so many sessions left this year. Okay. I talk about this topic a lot, and that's probably why I get asked about it a lot, because it's very important to me, and I am on a personal mission to teach everybody, whether you're a photographer or an entrepreneur or a small business owner or just a mom. Like, please, we all collectively need to avoid burnout. It is not a badge of honor. It is not something to be proud of, and it is something that we need to fight against and ask for help when you need it, okay? So, but answering this question, speaking to family photographers that are like literally in the thick of it right now, 3 things. And this is 3 things I've told you before, but I'm going to throw it back out there in case you need to hear it today, and in case the person that asked this question is on this live. So number 1, I want you to find space in your calendar where you can. Be ruthless. You have got to give yourself an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours for you. Not to catch up on your email, not to catch up on your editing, not to run errands, not to do the laundry that's piling up, literally for you. Go sit on your back porch, have a cup of coffee, and read a book. Go have a spontaneous lunch with a girlfriend. Go treat yourself to 2 hours at a spa. Like, I don't care what it is. It has to be for you though, where you're not thinking about work, where you're not thinking about all the things that need to be done and all the ways that you're failing and falling behind. Okay, that is the first thing. And here's the deal. I know that we are in the thick of busy season right now, and that's going to be a really big task. I'm asking a lot of you, but it is absolutely necessary. And if you want to have any chance of surviving this year without just being insanely overwhelmed and burnt out, you've got to do it now. If you feel that burnout coming because you're already so deep in editing and shooting and you still have a lot more to go, you can fight this. And that's the number 1 tip I have for you, is to find space for yourself. So that's where the number 2 tip comes in. You need to kick out of your calendar or off your to-do list everything and anything that can go, okay? So if you have previously committed to something and you're like, you know what, that's not gonna serve me right now, I'm not gonna be able to do that right now, you need to back out of it and give yourself that time instead, okay? Or if you are staying up too late watching TV or watching movies, you need to stop that and clear that space away so that you can rest, okay? You need to stop adding in sessions into your calendar. I don't care how many people are reaching out to you. I don't care what that looks like in dollar signs, okay? It's not worth what it is going to do with you. You're already feeling burnout. You already know it's coming. You have to stop the train. So clearing away and saying no to everything else. This is not the season for family photographers who are really busy to start adding on things, taking on new projects, trying new diets, trying to get into new stuff, new hobbies, adding in extra clients, even taking on creative projects that sound like a great idea. This is not the time for that. You need to say no to everything other than serving your clients well and taking care of yourself. That's it. That's all we're doing right now, okay? So the third thing I want you to do is I want you to open the Reminders app on your phone right now. If you are not an iPhone user, you will have something like this, okay? Google it. I have no idea. But for iPhone users, you're going to open the Reminder app on your phone. And I want you to set the date and the time for the reminder to be mid-January-ish, okay? And then I want you to go into the text box of this app, and I want you to hit the little microphone, and I want you to just voice record, just do a brain dump. And I want you to go through and talk about every single emotion and feeling you have right now. Things that you're excited about, things that you're frustrated about, things that you are proud of yourself for, things that you are angry at yourself for. Literally, this is where you're going to be totally honest, because this reminder is just for you, okay? So you are going to remind yourself what you are feeling like today. I've booked too many sessions this year. I'm not editing fast enough. I wish I had an assistant. I wish I had more clear communication with my clients so that things would run smoother at sessions. I wish that I had allowed more time in my week for myself. I wish I had hired somebody for this. All of the things. I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm frustrated, I'm drowning, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't like what I'm doing anymore, I don't feel creative, I don't like that I don't feel creative. Whatever it is, you are going to do like an emotional brain dump, and then you are going to hit save. So you're going to continue through your busy season, and then all of a sudden, you're going to get through your busy season, and then it's going to be the holidays, and then you're going to get some time off. And then you're going to get to rest and recover, and you're going to have forgotten that this reminder is coming. You're going to get this reminder in mid-January, and you're going to read over it, and it's all going to come flooding back. And that is going to be your motivation to do better next year. When you have a clear head to think about it, you are going to make plans and put things intentionally in place so that you do better next year, so you don't find yourself in this position again. Okay? So that was question number 2. So we talked about my 3 favorite business purchases this year. We've talked about what to do if you are already feeling burnout coming and you have so much more shooting to do for the year. Number 3, the question is, how do you handle sketchy clients? You show up and they are weird or scary. Okay, so I have 2 things to say to that. Number 1, this is like the mom in me saying, if you get to a location, and I'm assuming this is like an outdoor location, or I guess it could even be their home, but if you're getting to a location and all the alarms are going off and you're not getting a good vibe, you need to text somebody. You need to text somebody where you are, who you're with, when you should be done. Okay, and then ask them to follow up with you at that time. And if they don't hear from you, what's the plan? And then I want you to send them a dropped pin. Again, this is for iPhone users. You can send them a dropped pin of exactly where you are so that they have a location. But the second thing I want to say to this is you shouldn't be in this situation. So if you are finding yourself rolling up to a session and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I don't feel good about this. These people this is wrong. Something's not right here. I'm a little nervous. Either they're acting weird or you're just getting a really bad vibe or whatever. If that is happening to you, then there's a disconnect in who you are communicating with for your clients and the information that you're getting for them, because you shouldn't be attracting clients that you aren't going to be comfortable with. Okay, so it's either in the language that you're sending out or the things that you're not asking from them. You shouldn't just be booking strangers all the time. There should be a really big back and forth communication so that you feel like, even if it's a new client, you feel like you already know them before you have met them at the session. Okay, so you need to be communicating better, whether that's a more detailed questionnaire or whether that's more back and forth before you book them, whether that's reaching out to them via phone or text message to communicate before the session, session prep guides, the way that you are marketing your business online. You should not be attracting people that you are not comfortable with. So I feel like if you have found yourself in a situation where you roll up to a session and you're like, I'm not comfortable, this feels weird, something happened on the front end, something didn't happen on the front end. So I hope that makes sense. Again, that question was, how do you handle sketchy clients when you show up to a session and they're weird or scary? So I've answered that one. 2 more questions this week that came through. Number 1, I'm trying to decide on a workshop or class for next year. There are so many choices. Do you have any tips? Okay, first of all, bravo. I'm so glad that here we are in October and you're already forward thinking to your education for 2022. That's amazing. You should absolutely be doing that. You are on track. Thumbs up. I'm proud of you. Second of all, yes, there are so many options for education. There are conferences, there are workshops, there are mentoring, there are courses online and in person. There are just so much out there. And it can feel really overwhelming, especially if you are newer in business. If you are newer in business and you feel like you need to learn all the things, then it can really, really be overwhelming because everything looks bright and shiny and pretty and exciting, right? So it's where are you going to focus your time and energy? So I actually have a couple of blog posts on my website that talk all about this and go more in depth, but I'm going to give you 3 things on kind of how to make that choice for you. Okay. So when you are choosing a workshop or class or mentor for next year, here's 3 suggestions I have for you. Number 1, you need to be more than just attracted to their work. Okay. So there are a million creatives out there that produce insane work, right? Work that you look at and you're like, I just can't even, it's so good. I just can't even with that. It's amazing. Okay. However, do they have a business that you aspire to? Do you like the way that they are presenting themselves into the world? Do they seem organized and efficient? Are they priced well? Do they have a good reputation? How long have they been in the industry, right? I want you to look beyond just the pretty pictures, okay? The second thing, and this is a really important rule of thumb that I think applies to anyone, no matter where you are in your entrepreneur journey. When you are choosing somebody to learn from, I want you to choose someone who is at least 2 years ahead of where you are on the same path. Okay, so I am a family photographer. I would never choose to hire a wedding photographer to mentor because I don't want to do that. Okay, even if they've been in business longer than I am, even if they are 2 years ahead of me, they're on a different path. Okay, so I want you to look at what kind of industry, what part of the industry are you in? Where do you want to go? What are your future goals? What are your dreams? What would you love to see your business look like in at least 2 years? Okay, that could be style of work. That could be how much you're charging, how much you're working, what kind of clients you're attracting, what kind of locations you get to shoot at, what your business looks like, how big your following is, kind of the big picture. And somebody who is 2 years ahead of you in that same path, that is somebody that you should reach out to. If they have a course, if they offer mentoring, if they host workshops, that could potentially be a good fit. Okay, and my third piece of advice is I want you to feel like you jive with this person. Okay, so obviously you follow somebody on social media, you've checked out their website, maybe you've Google searched them and then you follow them, whatever it is. I want you to, when you see them engaging on the internet or, on their website or on social media or on Instagram stories like this, do you feel like you would want to hang out with them? Do you feel like, oh my gosh, I love her, I love him, we have so much in common? Do you feel like you think they're a fun person? You think you enjoy the way they talk to people, the way they teach, the way they educate? Do you jive with them? I say that because education is very personal, and unless you are taking a course that's all pre-recorded and just downloaded and there's no interaction, conferences, workshops, and mentoring, and a lot of courses have an in-person component, okay? You are going to learn more and also be more vulnerable, which in turn makes you learn more if you jive with this person, okay? So you could love their art, love their business, they're on the same path that you want to be on, but there's a lot of disconnect. You don't like their communication style. You don't really jive with the stuff they're into. You don't dislike it, but it's not like, doesn't leave you all warm and fuzzy, like wanting more from them, right? So maybe they're not the best choice. So those are the 3 tips I have as far as choosing what kind of education you're going to do. Beyond that, there's so much more. I mean, there really is so much more. Again, I have several blog posts on my website dedicated to how to choose a mentor or continuing education. There's tons of options out there. The last question for this week is, what is my favorite lens? And this is really easy. I love the Sigma Art 35mm. It pretty much lives on my camera unless I'm outdoors, which is rare. I am a very predominantly indoor shooter, in home, in studio, and I love to get up in people's business, and that's where the 35mm comes in. It is beautiful, it is crisp, and I just like how close I get to people. I want to touch them, I want to be just really up in there. So the 35 is my favorite. So it was kind of short and sweet today, which is nice because sometimes it seems like it goes on and on. But thank you for being here this week. I would love for you to hop up to the link in my profile and do one of 2 things. Number 1, sign up for my photography business newsletter. It is called Lifestyle Lessons. It goes out most Mondays, and it's short and sweet and gives you tips and inspiration and education, and kind of highlights some stuff that happened that week. And the other thing is there's a link for my course, The Organized Photographer's Waitlist. It will be opening, well, actually the next run will be in January. And if that's something you think you're interested in, just drop your email in there to make sure that you're on the list to get notified when announcements start coming out about it. And the last thing is, if you have heard about my mastermind, this is something that I ran twice in 2020, and it hasn't been around since spring of 2020. I am thinking very heavily about bringing it back in 2022. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different, but the community and the connection is going to be the same. If that sounds like something you're maybe interested in, just hearing more about, because I didn't give you a whole lot of information, send me a DM and give me your email address and I'll put you on the list, okay? You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you later. Bye.